Good morning, YouTube Reseller Mom here. Let's see here. Today is September 21st. It's Sunday morning, and I don't know where Tina is. So I'm hoping she jumps on here, but I also hope that she's okay because I have not heard from her today. But we are going to move forward. It might be a shorter show than usual. I have only a few things to go over. A little nap in the office here this morning. So, good morning. I hope everybody's doing well. We do have a few big news topics to talk about. The first is going to be Walmart. Walmart has now come down and said that they are going to require toy compliance papers for anything that is rated for 12 and under. So that has been really discussed on all of the boards. Good morning, Armand. Not nice to see you this morning. So I did have a few things. Let's see here if I can share my screen. Okay. So everybody's been talking about it. A lot of different Facebook groups out there are great to get different news and tricks and tips and everything like that. So just a few back in August, I know there was another one that just got posted that they are now enforcing them. So if you have woken up, they're going slowly in there. And if your stuff all of a sudden shows error and needs compliance paperwork, that's what's going on. So this one was a good post. I liked because they did share that some others are showing pet category lockdowns as well. So see how it has error? That means that they don't have the toy compliance. Now, I don't know if they're locking down pets as well as toys, or if they just got grouped into there because they have an age thing and it's maybe toy-esque, like a dog toy, and it says for puppies from 1 to 3 years is now a toy for small animals. I did have, this one was a good one to share too. So this person posted about how you can find, search for toys that are over 12 plus years old when you are looking for retail arbitrage items this year. So that was a good tip as well. So let's talk about this all in all. What is toy compliance? What does it mean? Can you get it? That's kind of the big question that I get, or I see multiple times over all of the boards. People say, oh my gosh, I woke up and all my inventory is locked out and I need to get these toy compliance paperworks. How do I get that? First up, the reality is you probably can't. That's the reality. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but most of these companies, especially if you're doing retail arbitrage, are not going to automatically give you the toy compliance. Most of them just aren't. Some of the big ones with stuffed animals, Disney, Squishmallows, they're not going to give you any toy compliance paperwork. They don't want to. They don't have to. That's up to them. How do you get it? You have to have a lab, and it needs to be an accredited lab, do the testing and go through the testing paperwork and tick all of the boxes that Amazon wants tested. I don't know them off the top of my head, but they are within Amazon's policies, and you can certainly reach out and find those within your account seller. Just go up and search for toy compliance paperwork requirements and figure out what they needed. And then you need to find a lab. They do have some suggested labs within the platform. You can reach out to them and see how much it's going to cost. Everybody has told me that the estimations are around $3,000 for testing. So obviously you're not going to get a $3,000 test, or probably not even a $300 test done for a couple of retail arbitrage items. It's just not going to happen. Now, the beauty of some of these listings is if they are made by the toy manufacturer or somebody that is moving enough product, they might be able to work with the company, get that toy compliance paperwork, get it on file, and then the listing gets checked off and it becomes reactivated and good to sell on. At least that's what's happened over on Amazon. You'll notice that, compliance paperwork needed, and then all of a sudden you wake up and it's not needed. Well, because it's now on file for that product. If you are doing private label items, you absolutely need to get this paperwork done and pay for it. If you are doing toys, and that's a toy category that needs that testing, you will need to work with your supplier, typically over in Alibaba, over in China, and find a supplier that will get the testing done. And then those test results need to be scanned in and sent to Amazon. If they come to you in Chinese language, they need to be in English, and then you can submit them. You cannot submit paperwork, any paperwork, in another language to Amazon and have it go through. So, some companies that do have toy compliance paperwork on file is like Lego. Lego has them. You can go and download those and submit them for proof. I want to say that's the only one that I know of off the top of my head that actively is fine and cool with sharing the compliance paperwork. If you work with a wholesale distributor, you can certainly ask them. I have done this with 4SGM, hey, send me the paperwork. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they're like, no, we don't have it on file, and our supplier is not going to provide that. It just depends on who it is. Off the top of my head, I want to say it was Disney that was like, no, we're not going to supply it for that product because it's expensive and they don't have to. So that's where it is. All right, moving on. Let me see here. There was somebody posted in our Facebook group about wanting to know about supplies, ordering supplies. So I do have in my link tree, I'm just going to share that real quick. Go down here to supplies list, reseller mom, and I've got a whole bunch of supplies in here. So this first tab, and this is read only, so just save yourself a copy. We share this all the time, and it's that time of year where you're going to be getting supplies ordered for Q4, and you want to start ordering them on the earlier side. You don't want to wait till the last minute to get those supplies ordered, or they may be out of stock or cost you an arm and a leg. I did that one time where I didn't have the right boxes and I wound up paying like 3 times the price for boxes. Oh, I was so upset. But this is just some supplies. My prices are outdated. This is at least a year old. I've not been very good at going back into the sheet and updating the prices, but it is what it is. You guys can see what I paid for it last time, see if it's kind of in the range. For USPS, my go-to is the shoebox and the priority mailbox number 4. The mailbox number 4, I should have brought it in. They're really nice. They're about this big. They are great for toys during Q4. A lot of toys fit in there. I'm trying to think, like the little Tykes, they have like the fake phones and not fake, but the toy phones and toy doodads that fit into here. Remote control cars, Batmans and figurines and things like that fit into this mailbox number 4 very well. And then you can just click on the link and go order said thing. I also use a ton of the flat rate. Where is the flat rate? I think I just put boxes here, didn't I? Well, the bubble mailer. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Oh, it's right over there. I'll grab one. Flat mailer. Let's see here. Flat rate envelope. I'll grab 2. We use these for so many things. You're supposed to put the label right here. I wind up always putting it on that side. I don't know why. But this is officially the padded flat rate envelope, 9.5 by 12 inches. So I will hold that up real quick if you all wanted to order that. But there's really only one flat rate bubble mailer. The other thing that is handy is the other flat rate cardboard ones, because you can kind of manipulate them into more of a box, for small things, and then use them for shipping. And they are on the cheaper side too. When it comes to whatever the rates are, they're usually a couple dollars, maybe not dollars, but a little bit less than those guys. All right. I also make sure that I have lots of poly bags. This is a good time to stock up on those opaque poly bags. I just get white. Some people like to have cute prints and maybe purple or different colored prints and stuff for their flat rate. Not flat rate, for their just opaque poly mailers. white is kind of the cheapest, and you can buy it in bulk. So that's what I go with, because it's not worth the money. And honestly, none of my customers have ever said anything positive or negative. I'm not running an Etsy store where the branding is super important and I'm going to put thank you stickers on stuff. I've watched some of these Etsy sellers and eBay sellers where they take the shirt that they bought and they fold it up really nice, and then they put a little thank you card in there, and then they polybag it, and then they put another little sticker on it, and then they put it in a branded mailer that's got hearts or flowers or something. And that's great. And if you want to do that, go for it. I cannot do that. There's been days where I've had to ship out 200 things, and I'm not putting a packing list in. I'm not putting a thank you note. I'm putting the item in the bag and the label, and it's gone. And I've not had anybody complain. Now, people may love all that extra stuff. I mean, I enjoy when I get a package and it's nicely put together and everything. But other than kind of giving me a smile for a fleeting second, I'm usually opening it up and trying on the shirt, or, seeing if it's the right thing. And I'm throwing that packaging away so quick. The effort is definitely kind of lost on most customers. But you guys do you. It is not a big deal either way. All right. The last kind of big news thing that I wanted to share with you guys, as of, I believe, this morning, maybe it was yesterday morning, 19 hours ago. So yesterday morning, I guess it was, the White House has outlined a TikTok deal that would give the U.S. control of the algorithm and allow them to stay active in here. And I know a lot of people here, whether you're doing the influencing or selling, or you just like scrolling TikTok, that's been huge news that's come out, and really good news, in my opinion. I mean, a lot of people like TikTok, and I know a lot of businesses are built on and around TikTok. A lot of influencers, once your item goes viral on TikTok, people are making great sales. I know that it's a huge tool in the reselling community. Now, this deal is not final, but I did want to mention it today because that is big news in our world. And that's kind of all I had on my plate today. Like I said, we were out of town last week, and Tina was out of town. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and holler at me. I'm going to just double check my other board and see if there was any questions, because I did not look at that this morning. All right. We do have a question about AI, so I will go ahead and read that. I'm totally confused by AI. I use the description AI option and then make an eBay listing, but the videos I watch don't tell me how to get into it on eBay to do what you're describing. I've tried getting ChatGPT websites, but I can't figure out how to get the photo into it for identification. It just says I can't do that. Is there someone that can tell me how to even begin? What program should I use? What are you showing? So I'm not quite sure where their downfall is exactly. In eBay, there's usually little, click here for AI. And so I would just do a Control F and find AI on the search panel. I did have a cool ChatGPT picture that I did the other day for a client. So let me see if I can bring that up, because that was kind of fun. How do I find my ChatGPT is not organized. Miss Tina is always organized on hers. Mine's taking a minute to load up here. Yeah, I know. All right. Come on. Okay, we're going to have to circle back to that while it is loading. Do I have to include, we're going to just go on to another question real quick. Do I have to include my Amazon store name or my name info, Hattie Service? And then this is for annotating invoices. This is kind of a good question here. Your invoices, if you are trying to get ungated, etc., and I see this, what was it? I helped somebody with a Frontier co-op invoice the other day. You have to have all of the things that they are asking on that invoice request. When you hit apply and it says, please provide an invoice with these things, and there's little check boxes. And the first one is, it needs to be within the last 180 days. And then it must include blah, 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 blah. that blah, 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 that's what that has to be on your invoice. And sometimes it's helpful if you go through the invoice and annotate it by highlighting the sections that they are asking for. And if something is not there, then you need to connect it somehow. And that might be if the website's not on the invoice and they're wanting a website on the invoice, use the blue. I always use blue or some other color to denote that I'm annotating. I'm not trying to modify the invoice. You don't want to be looking like you're plagiarizing the invoice or marking it up. You want to be annotating it. So I use a different color, usually blue, and annotate in any of that information that is missing. All right, looks like, there we go. Let's see here. Okay, perfect. I use ChatGPT for all sorts of things, and this one was a good one. This guy that I'm helping is selling this card game, and he wanted me to kind of fix up and look at the pictures and whatnot. So I said, make a real world image of a young couple playing this card game. Please write, oh, I didn't add this. It gets added all the time. Please write in English language. I don't know why ChatGPT defaults that in. I did not write that, which is kind of, I've noticed it. So if anybody knows why it does that, please let me know, because I'm perplexed on, like, I don't know if I have to denote that it's in English, or if I'm writing in English, I would expect my answer to be in English. If I'm writing in Spanish, I would expect my answer to be in Spanish. So the first couple that they gave me was this, and I thought it was pretty good. Looks like they're playing the game. Looks like they're having a good time. And it wasn't super romantic. So I said, right, what did I say? I said, make the picture more romantic. And again, I put that right in English. So here we go. Now we've got another couple. And you can see how realistic it looks. I am really thrilled by and how realistic the AI images look. What else? Oh, and then I had rewriting bullet points. That's another one that I use ChatGPT all the time. Take this bullet point, rewrite it for me, whether it's from a competitor or something that the owner has given me to rewrite, or my own, like if I need to rewrite something a little bit better. I had a friend who was pointing out that one of the articles, that the content of the article was true, but the AI picture was not, it was AI generated. I'm like, yeah, I don't care if people use AI generated stuff. It's nice if we know that it's AI generated. Anyhow, I made a picture of him as a firefighter with his dog. It was quite fun. All right, let's go back to here. What is this question? What are the problems with using the manufacturer barcode? Could inventory be commingled? I'm a reseller. Could the brand or Amazon, either one with the buy box, run out of inventory on one item and then they sell something FBA that pulls from my inventory? Is that possible? So I'm glad they brought this up, because they are going to get rid of commingled items. I don't remember what the cutoff date was, but it was within the next 6 months. So if you currently do commingled products, you're going to want to look that up and see what the heck is going on, because they are going to that option is not going to be around anymore. Personally, I do not use commingled at all, because that's exactly right. If you sell, let's say you sell this cup and you do commingled inventory, your cup's going to go into the warehouse with the manufacturer code, and it goes into a big, we'll just say a big bucket full of coffee mugs. When anybody sells a coffee mug, Amazon just goes over to that bucket and grabs one. They do not look to see if it's yours or if it's Amazon's or if it's Larry Moe or Curly's. They just go and grab one and pull it. So you're now have to be reliant that I packed my coffee mug well. Did you pack your coffee mug well? Did everybody pack their coffee mug well? Because honestly, some people do not pack things up very well. I have received lots of interesting things sent to me that were not packed very well. And, they're broken or they're the wrong item. All things Amazon. Every time I upload a product picture to chat, it will change the product slightly. It can do that. You got to tell it, don't change the product. I had it do that. I believe it was with here, I'll show you. I think I have the pictures handy. If I have them handy, I'll show them to you. But I know exactly what you're talking about. This was within Amazon's, let's see if I go this way. Yeah. Okay. This is within Amazon's AI. Oh, you've asked it not to, and it still did it? That's not good. I would start with the original picture and say, keep the product imagery original and try that. Maybe a different word prompt is good. So this is the product, and it did pretty well. It kept boost performance and recovery. However, there was one. Oh, you know what? I didn't save them. Okay, but there was one where if you went down to this, it was so garbly gooked. It looked like, you know how when they do alien writing on things, it looked really bad. The paid one is better in the sense that I can do more pictures. I can do more pings. I don't know, but you know, I honestly don't know. If you wanted to email over the picture, I could throw it in there and give it a try, but I'm not sure what's going on with it and why it would want to change it. I did have something I wanted to say, and the thought came in and then it went out. All right. Well, maybe if that thought comes back to me, I'll circle back to it here. Somebody says they do not have an estimated storage cost for next month. April from Canada. Hey, April. I did not put together the thing. Holler at me and send me the picture for sure. I know you. The inventory dashboard, I didn't want to say that, has been revamped. And I did like, let me see if I can bring a picture up of that. The new inventory dashboard has been revamped, and you can now look at the restock items. And I don't remember if this was around, let me bring up my little snipping tool. I don't remember if this was around how long ago or whatnot, because every time it's like, I swear this hasn't been there, and then maybe it has been and I just didn't see it, but drives me crazy. All right, let me go here. This was super cool. I figured this out this morning, so this was like just a few hours ago. I needed to go restock for one of my clients. And if you go to your FBA inventory, that is where it tells you the sell-through rate and everything and the estimated storage. So you can sort by quantity of inventory. You can sort by your storage fees. So if you're trying to clean up some storage fees, yeah, this is a great dashboard. And they keep saying they're going to take the other dashboard away, or they're going to make one dashboard. I don't know. Every time they say they're going to consolidate dashboards, I feel like we get 3 more dashboards to deal with. And now they've moved fixed inventory. So that dashboard, you now have like a crud. Let me get the name right here. It is, if you click the hamburger, go to inventory and just go to your inventory dashboard. Then you can go up at the top, click inventory, and find your fixed stranded, your unfulfillable, your returns, etc. So that's fine, but just they keep changing the dashboards. It's not you. You know, at first, when I first started in Amazon, I was like, am I missing something? What's going on? Why is it like this? No, they just move buttons around all the time. I wanted to see the returns because that might be good too. Yeah, perfect. I'll share that as well in just a moment. Let me go back over this tab. All right. So with the FBA inventory, you can now either do all your SKUs or just the ones that need to be restocked. So this client has over 600 different items. It's 19 pages long. So before I was going with all the SKUs and just going through all those 19 pages and seeing what is the recommended stock and kind of making some adjustments there, and then going back over and seeing what the sell-through rate is, and then taking into account what season's coming up. So right now we are pretty stocked up for Halloween, and I'm starting to ramp up for Christmas items, you know, looking at the forecast for Christmas items. This was very tedious and would take me quite a bit of work. Then I need to go into the stranded inventory or the fixed inventory and make sure that nothing was going on there. Because sometimes you'd get down to 0 stock and it wouldn't give you a flag to restock. Like, if I have none in stock, don't you think I should restock, Amazon? So its recommendations you got to take with a grain of salt. Either way, even if you use this or the other. But going through 19 pages was tedious at best. So now I can just click the restock and I hit all 46 and then hit send, I want to fulfill this inventory. And then I'll go through all of those recommendations and kind of, how many do I have on the way to the warehouse? How many are at the warehouse? Is it a season? Like, I don't want to send in, what was one today? I don't know if I remember the numbers exactly, but it said that the recommended level was 200 and I had 206 and it wants me to send in about 200 more. Well, last Halloween total, we sold around 200 between now and October. So I don't want to send in another 200, then I'd have 400. And then once Halloween comes and goes, I'm going to wind up with a bunch of extra inventory. And what am I going to do with that? This is not a huge Christmas selling item. So its restock numbers are really not the greatest. It does give you a graph, and that I've been using a lot. Let me see if I can get a little snippet of the graph. Let's do this one. Can I do it? Do I have to? Yeah. Let me stop sharing there and then go back over. Give me 2 seconds, folks, and I will get a new one. 3-second delay. There we go. Okay, this capacity. Let's get this over here. Go back a tab. Perfect. So I can ship this. All right. So this is one of them that I was refilling this morning. And as you can see, it gives you kind of this forecast. And if you hover over these, it will tell you how much did you sell last year and kind of what the expectation is and what a high estimate is, what a low estimate is, and what the mean is. And then on the left, you can see, well, how many did you sell in the last 7 days, last 30 days, last 60 days? So if I know in the last 60 days, 105 sold, I can take that estimate and say, okay, how many do I have in the warehouse? How many did we ship in last week? How many do I want to ship in this week? And how much do I think I'm going to sell in this next 30 days coming? So lots of good information there. I do like playing around with that. And then the other one that I was going to show you guys was, the returns dashboard is really cool. Let's see here. I think I can just share all of this. No, not really. Okay. And let me black that out. Boop. Perfect. All right. The returns dashboard is kind of nice. They now tell you, I used to have to calculate this percentage myself. The return rate is 5% because I do have a client that's always upset about the return rate. And somebody had posted that if you get your item changed to a category that is non-returnable, that obviously helps with having customers return it back because those items are not returnable. Some of those items are beauty items. So he was like, can we get some of these items changed over to the beauty category so that they don't get returned? And I'm like, well, let me investigate and get back to you. Short answer is no. And that being, you have to request a category change. And if Amazon has already agreed and verified the category that you're in, they will not do a category change. And this was a product that I could not really, I didn't have really a case to justify or push any further. So that's just something to keep in mind if you are worried about return rates. So return rate of 5% is really not bad. My worst return rate section is shoes. It runs clothing and shoes. Clothing's around 10%. Shoes is around 15%. And really that's not horrible. It's just something that you got to know that if you're going to go into the shoe business, you're going to have people that return it for whatever reason. That's what it is. Now, I don't know what the time is. I want to say this is over a year. I'm going to guess. Total return units over the entire year is 778. And then you can break it down by ASIN, 137 different ASINs. So you can see kind of this is the biggest month of the category that we sell in. October and Halloween is our month. That is it. So we expect big returns in October. That's makes sense. You can see what the customer reported the issue in, your top. So the top returning one, and then why, they ordered the wrong one. We've got rates, units, and return units. You can see that it's pretty steady out of 1,700 to 2,500 units per month. What those return rates are, very small. Anyhow, I thought that this dashboard was pretty nice. I like it. Gives a lot of insight into your product management. Okay, I do a lot of vintage clothing. Okay, that's not really a good question. Again, any questions? If not, I'm going to be on for another 5-10 minutes here, and then I'm going to call it a day. We're going to go to the game today. Super excited. We're going to go watch the Seahawks play. I don't know who they're playing. I'm a supportive football wife, not really a football fan. I mean, it's fine. I'll sit there and watch the game, but I'm not as into it as my husband is. All right. I am the manufacturer. If I delete my item, will I lose the 112 reviews? They have an internal error with my manufacturer barcode, and I can't replenish. Unfortunately, yes. If you delete a listing and you make a new listing with a different barcode, the old listing is gone. I hate to say it. It sucks. There's no way to do it. There's no way to get around that. Now, if you have the same barcode and you are just deleting and then relisting, then the reviews and everything will carry over. I do this all the time with clients. All the time. And a lot of them get messed up over the years because Amazon will come in and say, this attribute is now required or this attribute's now required. There was a new one for UK and Europe. And I didn't think to really bring it up here because I know we're mostly US sellers. But in UK and Europe, the COO, what the heck is it? Country of origin is now being required on the products. And so you might see a message. Everybody's complaining about this week. Get a little yellow box that says your COO is, not updated. You need to add those in. And that's just your country of origin. And it's really only for UK and Europe. But if you don't have your country of origin, it is a requirement. So if you go in and edit any of your old listings that didn't require it in the beginning, you'll now see it as a required red flag. Just put in the country of origin. And if you don't know, you can scroll down. There is an unknown option down there. So a lot of times I will delete listings and then relist them with a flat file. I do this probably weekly, not several times a week, where I've had to delete products and then relist them. If you are the manufacturer and or brand owner, you will want to use the UPC code, whatever that is. If you're doing EAN or UPC, whatever that code is, don't use the ASIN if you can at all help it. Now, on parent listings, you have to use the ASIN because that's the only product identifier for a parent, right? But on the children, do not use the ASIN. Otherwise, you will lose the contributing, the main contributor for the UPC code. And that is really hard to get back. You can, but it's a pain in the butt. So I had to explain that to Seller Central the other day. She was like, oh, just put in the ASIN. I'm like, that loses your contributing. Oh, no, I didn't know that. Yeah. Ask me how I know, because when you spend hours fixing something like that, those types of things stick in your brain. You do not want to give up control. So I do a lot of updating with flat files. Another thing to note is if you want to wipe everything out from a listing and kind of relist it fresh, or you can update it and just do a part. So Updating it will update everything. So if you want to kind of wipe things clean and start over fresh with that listing, like maybe there's a lot of things wrong with it, go ahead and do the update listing. If you want to just update a couple fields, do the update, partial update. And that's a drop down. You have to either update, delete, or partial update. Now, let me give you some real world examples. I'll be doing this later today with an item from a client that needs the sustainability. There's like a sustainability that it's 100% organic blurb. And 5 out of 6 products got that sustainability information and 1 did not. So I made a case and Seller Central said that I need to upload and have that field filled out with that information with a flat file. The easiest way to get a flat file is add a product. And if you have a variation listing, go to the variation wizard, put in one of the ASINs, it will find that file, and then you just hit generate file down below. If not, you got to go find what flat file you need, and it's category based. So you just kind of type in the category and say, hey, need this category, and then you find the flat file and put it in. If you do the generate off of a variation wizard, it's really nice because all of the fields, not all, some of the fields are populated. This still has a ton of glitches and errors. The first thing I do always is unhide all my cells because they like to hide things. They said it was an update. This happened a year or 2 ago. Anyhow, unhide your cells so that you can see everything. Otherwise, it's very confusing. You trying to look for something and it's not there. And the parent SKU always comes through wrong. So I don't know why, but it will give you a parent SKU of like SK and then gobbledygook, like a whole bunch of different letters and numbers. And I'm like, I don't even know where that is. That like random generated, or maybe they random generate it because they don't know whether I am the owner of that listing or not with the variation wizard. I don't know. There's a lot of things in Amazon that I cannot answer for any reason. But you have to go through that flat file. You cannot use the variation wizard very well to add new variations. You have to kind of go through the flat file process. I've not been able to get that to work in so long, and I haven't really even tried in several years to get the wizard part to add things to a product. So I've got to download and do that. Amazon Accelerate, I'll talk a little bit about that. There's a lot of people at Amazon Accelerate this week. I think it might be over. I want to say it ended a day or 2 ago. What are we on? Sunday? So it might be finishing up today. But Amazon Accelerate, from my friends that are there, is an absolute cluster. I had been on the fence. I'm like, I'm in Seattle. I could drive down there. Like, I don't have flights and hotel to factor into my price. And I still have one account problem on my end from being banned last year. I cannot be an account representative in the brand registry for some of my accounts. It says that I've been naughty and I need to appeal. Now, I did reach out to Michelle. Michelle said that those take a lot of money and a lot of fight. And if you don't have to do it, it's not really worth fighting. You have to figure out what that violation is and then try to argue it and have an appeal. And she said it would cost me several $1,000s to do. So I'm like, I don't really care. I'm doing all my things that I need to do, and it's not really a stop break for me. So one of my friends is at the Amazon Accelerate and kind of given a play-by-play of what's going on down there. And I did reach out to him and I said, hey, I'm not going to spend, it's $500 or $600 to go down there to just get a ticket to go in. And the reason we were contemplating it, and the reason he's there is because they said that if you go and you sit down with the Seller Central people, you can get one-on-one help with account problems, and they will reactivate you and clear up account issues live right there. There's like literally rooms with people on laptops helping sellers get their accounts reactivated and stuff. So that's why he's there. And I'm like, well, I'm reactivated, but I still have this ding in the back. Can you inquire if you hear something, let me know. And he said, yeah, basically there's a back end restriction on my account, and those are very hard, and nobody there could really help or give even the direction on which department would help. So I'm glad I didn't spend $500 going down there to wait in line and spend hours upon hours of the day to find out that I'd be SOL anyways, and they still can't help me. Now, he is also having problems. He is a huge, like $1 million seller that does a lot of trading cards. And I don't want to give away too much information because it's a friend of mine. And some of them are in Canada and some of them are here, and they have shut down. And his big complaints is with the trading cards, they have such a problem with people buying the cards, opening them, taking the cards that they want, and then returning them to the sellers. And they return them as new, and then they get resold. And then the next person is like, there's stuff missing. And then he gets a ding on his account saying that, the item was not new when it was sold because of this whole scam in the trading card world. So he's there to discuss that and has not really gotten anywhere with that, just banging his head against the wall. And the other problem is the couple of account representatives that he's been talking to have all said that they don't have the power, approvals, powers, whatever, to really affect any changes in his account and stuff. So he has been super frustrated this week with Amazon Accelerate. Ed is in that group too, and he also is been frustrated with what they're providing and what they're rolling out. They are going to roll out a new seller help thing, and they're moving to AI. They're moving more and more to AI. Now, they just kind of announced it at this Accelerate, so I don't have a whole lot of information about it, but everybody's opinion is like more AI with account problems is probably not going to be helpful for us. Maybe it will get some of the bad players out in the Amazon world, but really, I don't see it. Every time they've done more and more AI help, it's been not helpful. So we'll see how that goes. I understand they want to cut down on customer support and feedback and automate some of the junk going on. And he was literally bringing them cases of items that he listed, his brand that he listed that he got shut down for. And there's 40 something people on the listing selling. And those other people did not get shut down and banned. And so, you know what? If you're going to say that my listing is horrible and give me nasty grams and account performance dings and shut me down from selling, don't you think the entire listing should go down if it's a bad branded listing? But no. So anyhow, to be continued on that. In the meantime, you can either focus on the negative or you can kind of move forward with a positive. I'll be ordering supplies here this month, seeing what I need for going into Q4 and kind of putting together a Q4 strategy. And that might be one of the topics coming up here shortly is like, how are we going to do this? Walmart, Tina and I are pretty much done. Like, it's really hard to source for Walmart. With all of these toy restrictions, it's going to be really difficult to find profitable items that sell on Walmart. I mean, stuff just sells so much faster on Amazon. I can sell 10 before I sell one over on Walmart. Why wouldn't I still go sell on Amazon? It's got the traffic, lots and lots of traffic. As far as listings go, in the past for Amazon, even if you need toy compliance paperwork, you're usually given 30 days to sell out. So if you're doing Black Friday shopping and you're selling merchant fulfilled those items between, I'll say, Black Friday and December 20th, which is the big chunk of time to sell merchant fulfilled items, that 30-day doesn't really make a difference. You sell out, get done, make your money, shut down the listing, and move on with your life. So we'll see. We got to have a strategy going into that so that we can map out how much we want to make and what our plan is going to be. All right. I hope everybody here is having a great day. Take care, and we'll see you next Sunday.